Okay. Has PM&C provided any advice to the Prime Minister in the last year about the workload of the Minister for Climate Change and Energy?
Here we go.
Senator, that's not the role of PM&C.
Okay. Under the AAOs, is PM&C responsible for advising the PM on whether a minister's responsibilities remain fit for purpose when significant new duties arise?
I'll ask Mr Walters to the table, but in general, the judgment of the workload and responsibilities assigned to ministers is undertaken by the Prime Minister. But I'll ask Mr Walters to clarify that, if required.
I don't really have anything to add, Senator. Matter for the Prime Minister.
Okay. So whether a minister has suitable duties, can deal with the workload they have, is purely a matter of judgment for the PM. It's not a matter for PM&C. You're not asked to provide advice on that.
So I think that's broadly true. The one exception, I would say, and it's in a unique set of circumstances, is when we do the full ministry. For example, after the election, we do assist the Prime Minister's office to make sure that things haven't been missed, or if there's a major reshuffle, those types of things, we provide that kind of it. I'd say it's more assistance than advice.
And so that I understand, that's in terms of, whoops, we missed this portfolio kind of advice.
Yeah,
did you mean to abolish this portfolio? No, it needs to be right. It's not, doesn't go to whether a minister's duties are sustainable or...
No, that's right. That's an assessment for the Prime Minister.
Okay, so it's on the PM. All right. Minister Bowen's obviously been elected COP President. Has PM&C provided any advice to the PM or his office on the impact of that on the scheduling of Cabinet committees, ERC, NSC? I think Mr Bowen is a member of NSC, or I certainly read that. I don't know if it's still true.
Good try.
Not to my knowledge. I'd need to check that, but in general, we wouldn't provide advice on that. That'll be up to the Minister to talk to the Prime Minister about.
But PM&C is responsible for coordinating and scheduling all of those, aren't you?
Senator, we certainly work with the Prime Minister and his office in terms of the scheduling of those meetings.
And so, in contemplating the schedule for next year, did we make sure we missed major COP events so that Minister Bowen can attend?
You're asking...
There's no clash?
Let me get this clear.
Yep.
You're seriously putting to us that asking them whether or not NSC meetings, which we don't discuss, is that right?
That was one of the
NSC meetings
about
are scheduled around
committees, ERC,
the
or
Prime
NSC.
Minister schedules the NSC.
Yep.
Full stop.
And Cabinet?
The Prime Minister schedules Cabinet.
And all the subcommittees of Cabinet, including ERC? I'm just interested in whether the government is planning and preparing for Minister Bowen's significant absences.
The Prime Minister chairs all
next
of the
year.
Cabinet committees. No? Maybe one.
Not government communications.
Oh, yeah, except one.
Yeah.
Just for my curiosity, which is the one he doesn't chair?
The list of committee membership is available in the Cabinet Handbook.
There you go.
Great.
Read that.
And you could,
Go on.
You'll know it better than me.
The Cabinet Handbook and also on the Government Directory online.
Great. So which is the committee?
The two that the Prime Minister doesn't chair.
I heard it was one, but maybe it's two.
Well, he doesn't chair PBC and also a subcommittee of the Government Communications Committee.
Parliamentary businesses.
Thank you. That was just a trivial side. So PM&C has not provided any advice to the PM.
He'd probably like to chair PBC.
Probably.
Knowing him.
I'll take you at your word. You know him better than me. So the PM&C has not provided any advice to the PM or PMO about scheduling of any of these important bodies to make sure they don't clash with Minister Bowen's new duties.
No.
No. Okay. What about the schedule of the Parliament sitting next year? There's a lot of considerations which go into
Honestly,
I wonder if your question
what sort of world do you live in?
Can Minister Bowen manage his own diary? And I would imagine the answer is yes, and this really isn't necessarily a place to ask you.
We're going to schedule
Chair, I've been in your shoes. I know what it's like to
Goodness
chair
me.
these hearings.
I'm sorry.
Sometimes it assists to at least pretend to be impartial and not cut across the senator's questions.
Well, I just think, really, are you seriously suggesting? I think that the gravamen of your question is seriously suggesting that the parliamentary schedule is going to be scheduled around a particular minister's travel. Someone who probably travels more than anyone, except maybe the Prime Minister, possibly more than him, actually. I can tell you no. Ministers' travel is not the first thing on the Prime Minister's mind when the
officials are perfectly capable of answering the question.
Yeah, it's a ridiculous question.
Was any potential clash with COP travel a consideration for the parliamentary schedule next year?
As you know, Senator, the parliamentary sitting calendar is a matter for both houses to determine.
Yes, but who prepares the draft?
We support the preparing of drafts for the leaders' offices. And no, we did not factor this in.
So what guarantee will there be that Minister Bowen will be available for parliamentary sittings to answer questions in his capacity as Minister for Energy? Oh, well, perhaps you can assist us then, Minister.
It's not for me. I don't do his diary.
So
Just
the
like
Prime
he doesn't
Minister
do
is
mine.
not concerned about
Senator,
his ministers being available for question time?
Ministers have, and frankly, I suspect there are many ministers who have pretty punishing travel schedules as well. It's our responsibility to manage that and to manage what travel can be done while Parliament is sitting, when you have to miss it a couple of days or a day, or what travel you just have to forego. And all ministers do that. I do that. I know that Senator Farrell does that.
So it's not of concern to the Prime Minister that Minister Bowen may miss a number of parliamentary sittings next year due to his COP role?
That's not the evidence given.
That's why I'm asking the question. It's up to you to clarify.
Well, Senator,
you're making an assumption.
You're making
I'm
an
asking
assumption that he will miss Parliament.
Well, he missed.
I'm not. No. Well, he was on his way back from the COP meeting.
Indeed.
And really, I mean, this is, on the one hand, you want us to travel more. You tell us often we're not doing something, and on the other, you have a go when we are.
I've done no such thing, Minister Wong.
Seriously?
All I'm doing is asking about whether the Prime Minister expects his ministers, including Minister Bowen, who has got substantive responsibilities as a minister in the Australian government, to be available to the Parliament to answer questions, and whether or not he has an expectation that he will generally be available for Parliament while he's doing this other duty.
As I referenced earlier, accountability to the Parliament of ministers is an important aspect, a central aspect of the Westminster system. I think we all understand that.
Right, but the Minister did miss a number of days of parliamentary sitting last week.
I have missed
earlier,
as well.
Earlier this evening, earlier today, during these hearings, you objected very strongly to me interrupting you, and you are again.
I actually thought
interrupting
you
me.
had finished your question.
No, I clearly hadn't, because I hadn't drawn breath and I was still speaking. So Minister Bowen missed a number of days of the Parliament sitting last week. There were questions that needed to be asked of him in relation to his ministerial responsibilities due to his COP commitments. So what I'm seeking to understand is what reasonable expectation the Parliament has that he'll be available to answer questions next year.
Well, I suspect Minister Bowen has missed fewer days in Parliament than I have. Are you suggesting I'm not accountable to the Parliament?
You're the Foreign Minister. Of course
Yes.
you have to travel for your duties.
And yeah, so I mean, we all have to manage parliamentary attendance and travel. The first priority is the Parliament, and it's only where it really is a national interest point, and often, frankly, consulted with the opposition if it's going to be for any substantive period.
Right, so is there a commitment that that will happen in Minister Bowen's case?
I'm just explaining how the process works.
Yeah,
I think Minister Bowen's... we all understand the importance of the Parliament.
Right. Well, Minister Bowen's taken on a significant international commitment that is not directly relevant to his ministerial responsibilities.
I don't agree with that.
Well, I think the Australian people might have reasonable questions to ask of him about his ability to...
You're not the Australian people.
No, but we've been elected on behalf of the Australian people to represent them here in this Parliament, ask questions on their behalf. Some of the questions we might like to ask about the government's performance in getting energy prices down as it promised. Harder to do if the minister's not available. Is there something you wanted to add?
Sorry, Senator, I just thought I'd add that, as you are no doubt aware, there are guidelines that apply to ministerial international travel that are publicly available, and the Prime Minister gives consideration to a range of factors when considering whether to grant international travel. And I just thought it might be helpful to say that part of those guidelines provide that when any international travel clashes with parliamentary sitting periods, the traveller is approved subject to confirmation from the Leader of the House or the Chief Government Whip in the Senate for the Minister's absence from the Parliament. So it is a factor that's taken into consideration at the time.
A factor in granting leave, you mean?
In approving the international travel. So the Prime Minister approves all ministerial international travel, and it's one of the matters that's taken into account.
Thank you, that's helpful. So in a question to the Minister representing the Prime Minister, will the Prime Minister make it clear to Mr Bowen that he's expected to be available for Parliament, even though he has taken on these extra responsibilities?
I'm sure the Prime Minister will expect Mr Bowen to comply with the same standards that we all comply with.
Okay, thank you. I'm again happy to share the call with my colleagues if they have